Hey folks, just Paul here talking about some Course in Miracles stuff. I thought I'd make a little video today. Changelessness, what you are, cannot be changed. This is good news. There's a really interesting contrast because what I've been quite excited about recently, thinking about my real self, is that God created you to be permanent. And God has already willed, has already done his business and created you to be a permanent being. And so he's given you permanence. You have eternal life, you have immortality, you cannot be changed. So it's really interesting that in reality, in truth, there is no change. Change itself is the idea that you can slightly modify something, you can alter it, you can kind of do something to it and make it different. And that idea alone is the start of the idea of you can be attacked, you can be hurt, you can be changed against your will, you can be, you can turn into something, you can stop being pure and innocent, and you can somehow become guilty, or you can become evil, or somehow lose what you are, lose your perfection, and you can turn into something that suffers, something that can be sick and can die. It's all about change. It's just the possibility or the idea that something might change. Something's not how it was. Something's gone wrong. Something has influenced you. Something has caused you to be altered in some way. And so if you're an immortal, permanent being and you live forever and you're always the same, you can never change and you can never be changed, because how can you change God's will? God has infinite power. God permanently, fully creates you, maintains you with his mind and his will. You can never stop existing. You're always an effect of God. You're always exactly what he wants. So there's nothing that can introduce the slightest change to what God's created, because God is the infinite power. God is like, you are this, boom, there you are, you're going to be this forever. And it's absolute, it's fixed. God doesn't change his mind about you, doesn't take back his creations, and you don't have any power to change God's will. You don't have any power to change what God has created. You just have to just accept that you just are a perfect being forever, and you will never stop being perfect. You're always going to be the same exact, I am still as God created me. I've never changed. Always perfect. So the whole idea of the separation from God was the introduction of this strange idea, this sort of anti-immortality idea, this attack on eternal life, this idea that, oh, maybe I have some power to change God's will and have an authority problem. Maybe I have some power over God. Maybe I have the ability to change even myself. Maybe I have the ability to redefine what I am and teach myself something different. And I can become something, and I can change, and I can grow, and I can define myself and create myself. And this alone is insane, because you have to, how can you create yourself? You have to exist first to create yourself, but you didn't exist yet, so you couldn't do that. But the ego believes that this is possible, so this is the insanity of it. It's like you cannot change. You can never, ever change. You can't be changed by anyone. You can't be changed by yourself, and you won't never be changed by God. You're always the same. And it's because you're always the same that you're perfectly at peace. Your soul is just, it's in a state of no disturbance, no fluctuations, no parts of it starting to turn into something else, no effects from any outside causes, no uncertainty, no sort of transformations happening to it. Just perfect, always perfect. Just there's a stillness, there's a perfect peace, because you're just always just being as you are, as God created you, perfectly peaceful, just free from change. And it was the whole idea of you can change, you can be changed, you can change yourself, you can change God, you can change creation. It's the foundation, it's the root of the idea of death. It's the idea of I can take what lives forever and I can maybe change that a bit, tweak it a bit, make a slight adjustment. Have it be that it's not permanent. Have it be that it can be changed against its will. And because it can be changed, it can be made to be maybe not last forever. Maybe not always be the same. Maybe not always immortal, not always eternal. Maybe we can have it sort of die off and stop being always the same. So introduced the separation idea, this tiny mad idea, introduced the idea that you can change what cannot be changed. You can make mortal what is immortal. And that has given rise to this whole lovely space-time bullshit, where it seems as though everything changes. All things change. There's like constant change, which is an oxymoron, where the plants grow and they die, where the sun comes out and then it goes away, and where the bodies grow old and die, and the hair changes color, and the food turns into poop, and everything is changing because it's always in a state of lying. The truth never changes. So then it's like, okay, now I'm this is the truth. But wait, I've changed. Now this is the truth. Wait, I've still changed a bit more. This is the truth. This deception, it's illusions, it's lies. Everything you see on this screen is a lie. And it's not what I am, and it's not what you are. So God only creates that which lives forever, because God lives forever and it's his nature. So he shares his eternal nature with you. He creates you to be a perfect creation that doesn't need any changes, doesn't need anything, doesn't need to become, doesn't need to learn, doesn't need to acquire or get or accumulate or master something or perfect something. It's already perfect. And the truth is that you just need to just be that. And there's no amount of learning concepts and theories or metaphysics is going to do that, because it's not your job to put in place what God has put in place and God has created. It's not your role or function or ability to cause yourself, to redefine yourself, to make yourself, to create what you are. You don't have the ability to put in place an enlightened being that is yourself. God has done this, and it's God's job. So his function has extended to create you, and now you are perfect. And you don't need anything. And the whole idea of learning is actually against the realization that you know everything. You don't really need to learn. You don't really need to become and accumulate and master a skill and gain an ability and all this sort of thing. These are all illusions. And learning actually takes you away from what you already know. So the whole idea is that you repurpose learning to point towards learning that you don't need to learn anything, so that the learning stops. Because learning is supposed to reach a stopping point when you've learned, and now you know. So the whole point of learning is to learn that you have not known, and to get you back to the place where you know yourself, where you don't learn anything. Your soul doesn't need to learn anything. It's already perfect. It already knows everything. So this isn't really about you learning to wake up, or learning to be spiritual, or learning to be masterful or miraculous or whatever. You already are those things because God has already put those in place. It's just about you accepting, realizing, recognizing, just sort of, oh, it's already there. I'm already this. I have always been this. I've never really changed away from this. All the ways that I think I've changed have not been real changes. Everything I've become, I have not really become. All the things that seem to change in the world don't do anything to me whatsoever, because they cannot change what God has created. You are not at the effect of the world or the body or the ego or the mind or the emotions or the thoughts. You're not at the effect of suffering. You cannot suffer. You cannot be sick, and you cannot die. You are an immortal being. You are changeless. Everything that's real is changeless, because this is what makes it real, is the fact that it's always what is. It's always a something. It's consistent. It's always perfect. And the truth never changes. If the truth was to change, it becomes a lie. Someone was saying one thing one moment, and now they're saying something else. It's a lie. Real truth is permanent, eternal, consistent truth, and it does not ever change. So everything about reality, God's kingdom, heaven, is changeless. It is absolute. It is fixed. There's a nice line in the Course talking about how the thought that God holds of you is like a beautiful white star high in heaven, and it's held there in God's eternal sky. It's like you're just this something that is just always just not changing, not moving, not becoming different. You're just a nice, perfect creation with no flaws and no issues, no problems, no malfunctions, no sicknesses, no death, no hurt, no fears, no guilt, no evil, and just you're just being perfect all the time. That's what you are. And anything that changes cannot be of God. Anything that changes is not reality. It can't be true. So, because it's against God's will. It is this whole world, all bodies, the whole space and time, every planet, every galaxy, every star, every nebula, every black hole, all of the human race, every animal and plant, everything shifting, changing, turning into something else. Even physical death turns into life again, illusion of life, and goes around and regurgitates and transforms and moves and just is never stable, never reliable, never consistent, never constant. There is nothing permanent and nothing eternal about this world. That's why it's a world of illusions. So you've got this very weird contrast where you've got what seems to be a world that you're in where everything is always changing. But you, in God, as you are, your identity, your real truth of who and what you are, is not capable of change. So you're like the rock in the river, that the rock cannot be moved by the waters. You are this fixed permanent being. So that writes off the entire planet. It writes off everything that could possibly be suggested to ever happen to you, to cause you, to make you different, to cause you to be upset, to change your feelings, to affect your thinking, to alter your mood, or to change what you are. You are not changed by anything in this whole universe. You've never been affected by anything in this whole universe. No one has ever done anything to you because you can't be changed. So now we have to look at all the ways within our mind and our ego and stuff, all the ways that we keep insisting and believing this is changing me, this is causing me, this is making me different, this is doing something to me, I'm being modified and affected by this, which is a victim position. So if you've ever got a cause outside of you in the world and you think, this is causing me, it's not just the idea that it's affecting you. It's maybe changing you a bit, but you're staying mostly the same. It's actually the idea that it is literally causing what you are. It's defining you. It's making yourself. It's not just affecting yourself as though yourself existed before. It's actually the idea that you're creating me. The dream is dreaming me up. The external causes are specifying and defining what are you, what am you. And so if your mind in any way believes I'm being caused by the world, anything in the world at all, you're saying the world is my father, the world is my creator, the world is dreaming me, causing me, creating me, making me be against my will, forcing me to change against my will. Whatever these external things are doing to me, they're transforming myself. My whole sense of identity is going to change, and I'm going to become something different. Oh, today I've got this mood, and then I've got that mood, and then tomorrow I was having a headache, and now today I'm better, and tomorrow I'm having grief and loss, and today I feel happy, and blah, blah, blah. The world is like constantly moving you around, all these ideas of stuff, changing what I am. So it alters your sense of self, it alters your identity, and you become identified with the seeming effects that you're supposed to be having because of these causal powers that you've projected outside yourself, given power to things that don't have power over you. How can a change have power over something that cannot be changed by anything? You cannot be changed by anything. You are an immortal, eternal, permanent, fixed being, an absolute truth that is always the same forever. The world doesn't do anything to you. As the Course in Miracles says, the world does nothing to him. Nothing in the world can bring oppression or make you ill or sick or afraid or weak or whatever. You merely need to recognize what you are and in order to dominate everything you see. So the problem with identifying with things that change, like the body or the thoughts or the emotions or things in the world, believing that the world is causing you, making you, forcing you, affecting you, is all part of this belief that you're something that can be changed. You're something that can be affected and molded and shaped. And it's not true, because if you start believing that, your whole sense of what am I, who am I, narrows down and becomes a little victim, suffering, weak, limited self, which is the ego. So to undo this ego, you have to get your identity back to I am Christ. I am immortal spirit. I am permanent. I have eternal life now. God has already given me everything I need. God has already created me to be perfect forever, and I will never change. And nothing that's ever happened in the world will ever change me and has never changed me. I am my original, raw, unchanged, unfiltered, perfect self that God created me. I am still as God created me. I am not changed by anything in anywhere. Any kind of change has not done anything to what I am. So my what I am, my identity, who I am, what is my nature, has to become identified with, believing, accepting, owning, living, centered in, I am a changeless, absolute, permanent being that never can be changed by anything. I am immortal, endless and immortal. And because of my inability to change, it gives me absolute invulnerability. Nothing can cause a change, nothing can tweak, nothing can adjust, nothing can put pressure on, nothing can threaten. This is why nothing real can be threatened. You are a reality that is of an absolute nature, which cannot be in any way threatened with an idea, this might not last forever. I could change this a bit. We could introduce a problem. We could add a flaw. We could hurt some of this. We could give this a bit of death. It might not be eternal. We can question God's creation. That's all bullshit. Your whole sense of what am I? This is self-realization. What am I? I am the Holy Son of God. I am the perfect Christ. I am always the same. And it's that sameness and that permanence of spirit that gives you this just constant, continuing, this just alwaysness, this eternalness, which absolutely protects you and gives you infinite immortality, perfect, pure life forever, to the most extreme, beyond measures of extremes, beyond finite counts, unlimited eternal life that is so pure in its absolute, always the sameness, so rock solid that it is immune to everything in the entire universe trying to attack it at once, having no effect. Not even the slightest. Nothing can prevail against the Son of God. Nothing can prevail against God's kingdom. It is perfectly united and perfectly protected, and you are protected by God. God's will forces you to be perfect forever. God's will forces you. You have no say in this. forces you to be always absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with you. This is what you have to believe about yourself. I am still as God created me. I am perfect. There's nothing wrong with me. I don't have any flaws. I don't have any sickness. I don't have any guilt. I haven't turned into anything. I haven't lost anything. I haven't lost my innocence. I haven't become guilty. I've never sinned. I've never attacked anything real. Nothing real has ever happened to me. I'm just carrying on being perfect. That's what you are. You are just always the same. The same now as you always were. The same now as you always will be. You can never change. So we have to let go of all this other stuff that says, I'm going to learn and grow and accumulate and accomplish and achieve and get and master and, build and produce and all these other ego tactics. How about just recognizing and accepting God's already done the hard work. God's already done the part where you get to be a perfect being forever. Your job is just to accept the truth. That's what the atonement is. It's just accepting, identifying with what you really are, God's Son as Christ, just being that perfect little being that just is always perfect, never changes, just peaceful, just carrying on being peaceful, just happy, free. Not a single care in the world, because the world doesn't do anything. The world is nothing. There is no world. Only the creations of light are real. This broadcast has not been a change. This broadcast has not given you new information. This broadcast is just reminding you of what has always been true. Nothing's really happened. You've never sinned, and you can never die. Yay! Carry on.